Hello, this is going to be lesson 4, factoring by grouping. Suppose I have this expression, okay, or this polynomial. This polynomial has two terms, okay, and what do we have in common? They have in common y minus 1. So we're going to factor out the y minus 1. So I factor out the y minus 1, and if I factor out the y minus 1, in other words, if I take out the y minus 1, what I'm left for the first term? I'm left only with x. So let's write down x. And if I factor out y minus 1 from the second term, what I'm left with? I'm left only with negative 13. So basically this is what I factor out, this is what I took out, and this is what I'm left if I take out the y minus 1. Okay, let's look over here. Remember there's an invisible 1 right here. So what do they have in common? They have in common 2m plus n. And if I factor out these two terms, I'm left with 5m squared minus 1. And that's my answer. Okay? Let's look at the next ones. Okay? The next one, I ask myself, can I factor anything from all four? And the answer is no. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor by grouping. That means I'm going to group them in pairs. And I'm going to just focus my attention on the first two first. And I ask myself, what can I factor from the first two? And the answer is a, because a occurs to both of them. If I do ab divided by a, this would be b. And 4a divided by a would be 4. And if I look at the second two, what can I factor from these two? The answer would be a 7. And if I divide by 7, what am I going to be left with? 7b divided by 7 is b. 28 divided by 7 is 4. If I look at these, these are two terms. What do they have in common? They have in common b plus 4. And if I remove the b plus 4, what are they left with? a plus 7. And that's how I factor letter C. Alright, let's go up to letter D. Okay, same thing. Can I factor anything from all these four terms? The answer is no. So then try to factor by grouping in pairs. And what can I factor from 2xy and 5y squared? Well, I can factor out a y. So if I do that, 2xy divided by y is 2x. 5y squared divided by y is 5y. I will bring down that sign, negative. And what goes into 4x and 10y? A 2. And if I factor out a negative 2, negative 4x divided by negative 2 is 2x. Negative 10y divided by negative 2 is positive 5y. And would you look at that? Two terms, what do they have in common? 2x plus 5y. And if I remove the 2x plus y, what I'm left with? Y minus 2. So that's my answer. Okay, let's keep going. Next one, can I factor anything from all four? The answer is no. So group them by pairs, or group them in twos. What can I factor from the first two? The answer would be an x. If I divide by x, this 3x squared divided by x becomes 3x. Positive 4xy divided by x becomes 4y. And then what can I factor from these two guys? Well, first of all, bring down the positive. And what can I factor from these two guys? The only thing I can factor is a 1, so let's go ahead and factor a 1. 3x divided by positive 1 is 3x. 4y divided by 1 is 4y. And what do they have in common? They have in common 3x plus 4y. And if I remove the 3x plus 4y, I have left x plus 1. So that's our answer. Alright, let's go on to the next two problems. Can Can I factor anything from all four? The answer is no. What can I factor from the first two? Factor x. So that means 3xy divided by x becomes 3y. And x divided by x becomes a 1. Bring down the negative. What can I factor from 12y and 4? The answer is a 4. Negative 12y divided by negative 4 is 3y. And negative 4 divided by negative 4 becomes a positive 1. Now that I have that, what do they have in common? 3y plus 1. And if I remove the 3y plus 1, what do they have left? They have left x minus 4. And that's my answer. Okay, next problem. Can I factor anything from all four terms? The answer is no. So focus your attention on the first two. What can I factor from the first two? Can factor out of 2. And then 2x divided by 2 is x. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Bring down the positive. What can I factor from the last two? Can factor out of x. Well, how many x's? Smallest exponent is 2, so I can factor out x squared. X cubed divided by x squared is x. Negative x squared divided by x squared is negative 1. What do they have in common? X minus 1. And if I remove the x minus 1, what do I have left? I have 2 plus x squared. And that's our answer. Alright. Let's do one more. Okay, can I factor anything from all four terms? And in this case, yes, I can. I can factor out of 5. And let's see, can I factor anything else? No. So that means the first term becomes 3xz. The second one, 15 divided by 5, is 3yz. Negative 5xy divided by 5 becomes negative xy. And negative 5y squared becomes negative y squared. Very good. Now that we have that, let's just keep the 5 there. And let's look over here. And let's go ahead and put a bracket. And basically, what can I factor from the first two? I can factor a 3 and a z. So 3xz divided by 3z will be x. 3yz divided by 3z will be y. Bring down the negative. What can I factor from these two? Can factor out a y. So negative xy divided by negative y is x. Negative y squared divided by negative y becomes positive y. Alright. Now, copy the 5. What do they have in common? They have x plus y in common. And if I remove the x plus y, we're left with 3z minus y. And then this is our answer. Okay. Let me double check everything is correct. All the answers seems to be correct, so very good. This concludes our example for lesson number 4. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.